and let us all do we can to build a better future.
Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is thinking of telling his friend Joe Biden that we got to be careful out there, that he should be reaching out and addressing working class concerns. Let's go ahead and play this video and check it out. Shout out again to Case Study QB.
And this is in a recent article. Bernie Sanders, America's leading progressive politician, has issued a stark warning to Joe Biden at the start of the presidential election year. Be more aggressive in addressing the anxieties of millions of struggling voters, or risk handing back the White House to the anti-democratic demagogue Donald Trump. Dasha, I know you have been talking to voters in Erie, Pennsylvania, who have echoed that.
Yep, huge warning signs for the Biden campaign there. Look, the economy, by all accounts, you can look at the data, it's doing well. And I posed this to voters when I was talking to them there. I said, look, wages are going up, unemployment is down, the stock market's doing well. But how do you feel about the economy? And no one I talked to gave me a positive answer. And they are frustrated, both Democrats and Republicans. And I'm not talking like hardcore Trump Republicans. They feel that the Biden administration touting how good the economy is when they don't feel it is out of touch, and they feel kind of slapped in the face a little bit. If you don't acknowledge people's feelings, like that's not how you get that.
Well, while all of you there sitting so comfortably at BSDNC, I mean MSNBC, for the last couple of years, especially under the Biden-Harris administration, we were told that things were going to be A-okay, that Biden was going to turn things around. Oh, yes, he did turn things around. He made sure that all those corporations that were suffering, especially during the lockdowns, were able to regain their profits, which is why the economy, according to Biden and his administration, is doing so well. But now, as for the rest of the working class people in this country, I'm so sorry. You're at the end of the line. You're going to have to struggle to put gas in your car, to put food on the table, to buy medicine, to pay the bills. Yes, the wages have increased, but the prices for everything has drastically gone up. How are prices in your neck of the woods? Type 1 for, oh, kid, things are affordable, nice, and cheap. Type 2, no, I don't know really what to buy anymore because my buying power has been limited. And yet this administration has the audacity to tell me that things are good. There are so many people I know in my neighborhood who are struggling. But yet the media and these politicians want to say that things are well. And yet here we have this great panel of pundits saying, oh, wow, Democrats and Republican voters are feeling insulted. Of course they are. People have been screaming that they've been hurting for years now. And this goes all the way back to the 2008 recession as well. The people who even caused that economic disaster have never gone to jail.
Campaigns correction that a lot of Democrats are asking.
Campaigns are won and lost. I think we would agree on this. And how you make people feel. Not on data, not on numbers, not on spreadsheets. And so this is where the contrast point with Trump, they think will be helpful to them. We will see. Because it is about, I am fighting for you. He is not fighting for you. It's not about the data numbers, because people don't want to be told how they feel about the economy.
I had a prominent Democrat, very close to Joe Biden, tell me yesterday, we got to get to populism. We got to attack Trump as a tool of Wall Street. And we got to hit him head on. The big business crowd's never going to like Joe Biden. They're never going to be for us. And we have to go back to populism. And this is hard for folks to accept, but the populism attack is more effective than the January 6th line of attack.
Hey, Bernie, you nutless wonder. It's almost as if you actually had more power behind you, if you actually had more of a heart, you could have actually used that against your opponents, but you didn't, Bernie, because you're a nutless wonder. And now you're telling your good friend Joe Biden, your buddy, your pal, Joe Biden, who is against busing and desegregation, against a woman's right to choose. You're telling your friend, your buddy, the guy who wrote the crime bill, your friend, your buddy, your pal who said he'd gladly prostitute himself to corporations, your buddy, your friend, Bernie. You're telling him now he needs to reach out to working class people. I regret any kind word I ever said to you or said about you on my show. Bernie, you nutless wonder.
Who's concerned about American democracy? Guess what? They're voting for Joe Biden this fall. They're already there. Populism, I think, is the key.
It's where the American electorate is. They want a fighter, and they want someone who can really speak to those issues, particularly on the economy.
All right. Fantastic panel.
Oh, yeah, it's a fantastic panel. You want to see people who live in their own reality, though? It's pathetic looking at this guy, Ro Khanna. I know. By the way, he's doing pretty good, according to Unusual Whales. Check it out on Twitter. Go to Unusual Whales. You'll find out just how well Ro Khanna is doing for himself. And in this struggling economy, somehow he's killing it, as well as all of his other fantastic friends in Washington, D.C.
So you were here on President Biden's campaign team behalf. They're doing a write-in campaign. We're going to come spend some time with you later this afternoon. Sounds like it's well organized.
There is so much enthusiasm here for the president. Anyone who says that the president doesn't have enthusiasm needs to come to New Hampshire. Progressive and moderates, lines outside houses.
Well, we're going to come spend some time with you and bring it back over the next couple of days to our shows. But your old friend, Senator Bernie Sanders, would definitely like him to be making that argument stronger. Do you agree with that? And what do you think he means by that? What would Senator Sanders like to see that he's not seeing?
I think what Senator Sanders would say is look at FDR in 1936. He got a lot done, but he said that people still were struggling. And Senator Sanders would say we've got to become a working class party.
There was a point where I was excited to hear Bernie Sanders speak. There was a point in time when I actually held out hope for the Democratic Party. The fact that now we're just seeing them constantly repeat things over and over again and say nothing new tells you how serious Bernie Sanders would have been should he have become president. Because looking back at it now, if he wasn't going to fight hard for his supporters, especially during 2016, if he wasn't going to fight hard for how the DNC was working with the Clinton campaign to deny him the nomination in 2016, as well as in 2020, he was never going to fight hard for any of us in the White House. But yet somehow the wise old man, Bernie Sanders, is trying to push Biden to reach out to working class voters. You know, this might come as a shock in case some of you forgot it, but ask the railroad workers how they feel about Biden and his administration and how the Democrats told them that they couldn't go on a strike.
Let's talk about a second term where President Biden will really fight to make sure we get the living wage, where he's going to fight to make sure we get child care at $10 a day, fight for more affordable housing. And he should be honest with folks. Look, he's trying to overturn 40 years of neoliberalism that gutted the middle class. He's not going to do that in 2 or 4 years, probably won't even do it in 8 years. But
so say, oh, whoa, row your boat. Whoa, row. You don't say that. You don't give away the sauce. You just can't say, yeah, he probably won't get it done in 8 years. Then what's the point? What's the point, buddy? What's the point of voting for Biden if nothing's going to fundamentally change, right?
He's trying to reverse this absolute free market ideology and center the working class. And I think President Biden is going to make a great economic argument.
So in the limited time we have left, I'm going to ask you a hard question, yes. Which is Donald Trump is potentially going to be in a courtroom tomorrow. He sometimes blocks out the sun or all of the space when he is in the courtroom. How do Democrats compete with that in terms of getting their message out?
That's a dumb question. That is the dumbest question I ever heard. Like, how do Democrats compete with that? Well, because you got to be a showman. It's politics 101. You think Biden's going to bring in that energy like how Trump has? Ever since this administration and everyone else that suffers from Trump derangement syndrome, ever since Trump's been indicted and been suffering all these legal issues, all it did was boost up his popularity, his image, and in which he could twist it around. By the way, that whole situation in Georgia, if it truly goes south, do you have any idea how much more powerful Trump's going to be, especially going forward and dealing with all of these other legal issues? He's going to be fine, folks. He's going to win New Hampshire. Tonight, he's going to win New Hampshire. That's my prediction. And if I'm wrong on that, hey, I'll apologize on air tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think we stopped to make this about all of Donald Trump's scandals. People know that. Here's what we should.
But liberals thrive on those scandals, buddy. Roe, you don't give away the sauce like that, man.
Say, who's going to deliver for the American public? We understand that the American dream has slipped away. People are getting paid less and their costs are going up. And Joe Biden, the middle class Joe Biden, Scranton Joe Biden, has done that his whole life, and he's done that for 4 years. It's not perfect. There were obstacles. The Senate is a hard place, but that's his fight. Donald Trump did tax cuts for the rich. The economic argument, I think, is what's going to win this, because ultimately elections are about what you're going to do for people.
You like talk about economics a lot, Ro Khanna. Again, I'm encouraging my audience to check out Unusual Whales. You'll find out just how well Ro Khanna is doing for himself.
Not the personal peccadillos and scandals of candidates.
Peccadillos, Congressman O'Connor. I'm looking forward to putting my hat and gloves and everything on and going to spend some time out there with you this afternoon.
Have the boots
too. Oh, I have them on now. Thank you so much for joining me.
Okay.
So
that was a wasted interview. However, just to once again pushing Case Study QB, please be sure to follow him on all of the social media platforms. Biden's team is lowering expectations for the New Hampshire primary and is nervous about having to drop out because of a poor results.
What does success look like for them? How are they defining that?
I would say that the Biden campaign is lowering expectations about what's going to happen here, but they're really just ignoring what's going to happen here.
Are they giving a number at all?
Well, privately, they'll point to the fact that there are so few precedents for this. They'll look at maybe Lisa Murkowski running as a write-in candidate, but that was a general election. You had a Democratic nominee, a Republican nominee, and a write-in. So there really is no blueprint. What would be, I think, the danger zone when you talk to Democrats here who've seen many, many, many primaries, they're nervous about this because of what happened in 1968. Lyndon Johnson did not put himself on the ballot. Eugene McCarthy got 40% of the vote. That was a surprising showing for a challenger. And even though Lyndon Johnson won the primary, he was out of the race 3 weeks later. And so when a lot of Democrats are nervous about President Biden, whether he's strong enough to lead the ticket again, a disappointing showing of less than 50% here might be a problem.
Less
for the Biden
than
campaign.
50.
You gotta love the delusion that these Democrats are in. They always find a way. They always find a way, and at least how I've been covering it, just to make up an excuse when they are going to fail, when they're going to lose. Now, Biden's not on the ballot in New Hampshire, but when we had Keaton on the show, he made it very clear and talked to a lot of people that there's a lot of Democrats that are going to write in his name. So Marianne Williamson, Dean Phillips, and, well, Cenk, I don't think you're on the ballot in New Hampshire. You're wasting your time. All I know is that Biden's going to probably win New Hampshire as a write-in candidate. I do hope that the ceasefire name actually supersedes over Joe Biden. That would be great. Otherwise, when we look at the overall situation in which Bernie Sanders is trying to raise the alarm, it's too little too late, Bernie. Whatever influence you had over the progressive movement, leftists as a whole, you gave it away when you decided to be a cuck to the Democratic establishment. We should have saw it in 2016, but yet people, including myself, had the audacity of hope and thinking that maybe 2020 would be different. I was wrong about that. And I regret ever saying any kind word about you and your campaign. And now you're telling your friend Joe Biden, who, by the way, right off the bat, as soon as Biden made his announcement that he was going to seek re-election, you, like the loyal dog that you were, decided to endorse him right away. What power do you have? What influence do you have? After selling out, did you get anything in return? Probably not. You're just happy to be part of the Democratic club, right? Happy just do your little speeches here and there and never contribute. And yet you're going to warn your friend, your good pal, Joe Biden, who's been on the wrong side of history, that he needs to start reaching out to working class people now. The same working class people who are struggling day in, day out just to pay their bills. We've been effectively abandoned by this administration, yet somehow we have to show loyalty to it. And then at the same time, we have to be afraid of Trump. Electoral politics is not the way to go, folks.